Hi guys, Ready Set RC, and on the bench today we have what I call my TyMad. This is a Arrma Gen 1 Typhon and a Nomad cage and I guess mounting system on this. I'm not really going to go over the TyMad part of it because I've talked through it. I've had several videos on this vehicle. This buggy's been on the channel quite a few times. So I'm really going to go over what we're doing today. So today what I'm doing is converting the Typhon suspension arms that are on this and the drive shafts that are on this over to the Mojave. So it's going to give me a wider stance on this buggy than what comes stock. And the reason for that is typically I can only run certain buggy wheels on this vehicle, and that's because of the wider cage that's on here. Because of the narrow width of the buggy stance, I'm limited to what I can run. So these are what I'm planning on running now, and these are Vitavon wheels with Proline Hyrax tires, and I'm dying to run these. I've had these for quite some time, mounted these up, and then found out that the arms were not wide enough to run these on there. And that's why I'm going over to the Mojave, and that's what I'm setting up here now. So what you guys are going to see is me doing the install, doing the fitment, and seeing how it all turns out. Enjoy the video, guys. All right, first up, we're going to get this thing broken down, get all of the Typhon suspension off of this vehicle, and then let's move on to getting the Mojave suspension on. I don't know how many of you guys have the Gen 1 out there, but the Gen 1 was notorious of the Gen 1 Arrmas were notorious for having a extreme amount of Loctite on them. So we'll see what we're dealing with. And you guys can see drive shafts are intact. It's just I need longer ones. So you guys seeing what's going on here? Typhon I just took off, Mojave. You guys, I know you guys are seeing the length difference, and that's what we're gonna get. Looking forward to this. Placing this. All right, looks like I'm gonna have to take off the bumper. just ease that out of the way so I can get to the pins here and here. Let's move the brace. Oh, there we go. Love when that happens. Whew. Look at that. Nice. I just want to measure that up so you guys see it. Same size. Actually, these are way beefier, which is going to be nice. But let's get this in. I'm just going to go in reverse. I'm going to go ahead and go in reverse, put this in. There we go. I'm going to lower the droop a little bit, or raise the droop up a little bit, because I have a feeling it's going to get in my way. So I'm just taking out the droop you see here. And I'll adjust it afterwards, but I'm going to take it out of it. So I don't know if you guys are noticing that, but look at that. It's still giving me more than what I'm going to need on this. So I'm thinking it's Dremel time, guys.
2 hours later.
So we're back in the studio with the TyMad, and just wanted to kind of go over what was done on this so you guys get a more caption of everything that we did on this car. Now, for you guys who have not seen the previous videos of this car running, go back and check them out. It's part of this playlist. This is what I now fondly call my TyMad. It is an Arrma Typhon chassis sitting with a team associated Nomad cage on this. And it takes a little bit to get this to where it is right now today. And I've tweaked some things, changed some things around, and even so, I'm not all the way done with it. So we'll talk about a little bit of that today. I can't really give you guys the full details of the instructions because this is pretty much everything that I've been doing is testing and tuning over years. So some things I have mentally recorded, and some of it, you know, gets old age, you forget things. So let's just touch on what we've done in this video. We went ahead, and as I stated before, we took the Mojave suspension on here. This is the upper and the lower suspension on this, and we swapped out the stock Typhon upper and lower suspensions, front and rear. We also went ahead and put the Mojave shafts in there because if you run the shafts that come with the Typhon, they're shorter, so you won't be able to run that in this. So we went ahead and got the Mojave drive shafts in here, front and rear. And the last bit of this, which you will need, is you will need to change out the steering link to the Mojave steering links, because the links that are on the Typhon, once again, it is a shorter setup. Now what this has given me now, and I wanted to show you guys on this angle, it's now giving me clearance to turn the wheels. Before I had put these Vidavon wheels with these Hyrax tires on here before, and it was rubbing against the cage. I never ran it that way because it doesn't work. Prior to this, you guys could check out those videos. I would run this with some Badland tires sitting on Offner wheels, and those would work perfect, but you want some options in regards to your tire setup. So doing this has definitely given me a little bit more a variety of what I can run on this. Now, for you guys who want to know a little bit about more of the car in this conversion, I'll touch on that in a little bit. As I said, this is more of a trial and error, and I can't really tell you. You're going to have to try different things on your own and see if it works. For me, I'm still doing it. I'm still working it, and there's some parts of it that I just tolerate because I just like getting this car out and bashing it around, and it's fun. And it holds up to it, guys. Check out the video. You'll see it. I'm not a tremendously high-flying basher, but if you're trying to take this about maybe 3 to 4 feet up in the air, which is what I say that this setup is perfect for, you're not going to have any issues with it. It will handle the abuse. It's just a typical Nomad cage. Nothing special about it. It's just a Nomad cage. Now, this is the part where it gets tricky, and as I said, I remember some of this, and some of this I don't remember, because this goes back at least 2 to 3 years at this point that I've done this work. So the front of it, you have a Nomad front bumper and the support that goes behind there. fixing the screws to the rear of it, you're gonna have to play around with the lengths, but that's what I did for the bumper. In regards to the body support, this is where I probably say, guys, you're gonna have to try something on your own because I'm not fully there yet on mine. What I am still running is the shock tower from the Typhon. I probably would say if you can get away with putting a Mojave shock tower on here and then using the Mojave body mounting system, you'll probably get this thing spot on, but I'm still playing with it. In the front, it's no issues. The only problem is that I don't have many options for the shock mounts, the upper shock mounts on this. And you guys can see the lower, there are no adjustments, but for the front, I got only one. And you're not going to really have many options if you do what I did. I think if you change this over to the Mojave shock tower and then the Mojave body mount, I think you'll have a ton more options on here to do things in your upper body shock, your upper shock mount position. Looking at the chassis, there's been no work that's changed here on the chassis. This is strictly the way it comes. This is an Arrma Typhon Gen 1 for you guys who are not familiar with this car. And I've taken my Gen 1 and kind of converted it into this project. These links that I was talking about, the steering links that you see right here, these are, once again, the Mojave links that are on this. The upper and the lower are from the Mojave too as well. Tailoring back to the rear, this is where it gets a little tricky, guys. So in the rear, what I have is another Nomad bumper going on in the rear. Utilize the setup that was already in here from the Typhon, the Arrma Typhon. But where I would suggest, guys, because these body mounts, I believe these are the body mounts from either the Nomad or from the Sentin 6S. And I would probably suggest, too, going to the Mojave shock tower on this with the Mojave body mount for it as well. And that may give you more options. For me, this is where I'm playing around with it and messing around with it for a little bit, but for me, this is where I would say you have probably more issues with it, is that mounting it to the rear portion of the cage, it comes in somewhere around here. I think if you get it just right, you could probably get the mounting system a little bit better. But what tends to happen for me is that I may lose a body pin from time to time, or the cage may slip past that body pin. I've tried some different setups where I use more of a disc and then the body pin pushed over that, and that works perfect. The only problem with that is that the discs that I have, they have to be so thin that eventually after a couple runs, they get bent. But for the most part, it holds up. It takes the bashing. Using the disc is probably the best approach if you do exactly the same thing that I did on mine. But that was one of the things I would say that I would probably mess around with a little bit more. In regards to the lower support arms, once again, these are the Mojaves. The upper links are also from the Mojave rears. So that's what I'm running in the rear of this car. You guys can see from where the droop screw goes, there is a little bit of a clearance issue with the arm. And that's right here on the arm. And what you will need to do is get a Dremel out or a filing tool and file this part of the chassis back a little bit to allow that arm to give its droop that it's supposed to. That's one of the things I did to the chassis, was file it down on each side. So I did it here, did it again down here. I'm not sure if the camera's catching that, but I also did it here and also here. So you need to do it. So you need to do it on the front and also on the rear for it to provide you the amount of droop that you're supposed to get standard using these support arms. And once that's done, you guys got yourself a TyMad. One of the rigs that I have probably the most fun with. It's just drives well, jumps well, guys. I mean, this is an excellent car and I can't wait to try it with this new setup. But we're gonna leave it here, guys. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Check us out on Instagram for our latest post to the channel. This is Ready Set RC, signing out. Thanks again, guys.